Hello and welcome to the Fairy Coach Tarot channel. My name is Raquel. Today is Tuesday and we have a Pick deck, Pick Fairy, looking at love and romantic relationships. All right, so we are going to ground and center as always, and then you're going to pick the deck or the fairy that resonates with you, that calls you at this time. And then we're going to look at the main energies and guidance from Spirit for the relationship, what needs to be released, and what we need to focus on. All right, so sit in a comfortable position. It's better if you are in a place that it's undisturbed, that you can relax, and roll those shoulders back. And let's take one deep breath together to ground, center, and connect. Inhale through the nose. Hold at the top for a couple of seconds. And exhale through the mouth as if you were blowing a candle, elongating that exhale. Now, you're going to pick the fairy or the deck that calls you, that feels more like this is the one. Do not think about it, just pick intuitively. And if you need more time, you can pause the video. Okay, ready? Let's begin with the pink fairy. And this is a beautiful deck, one of my favorites. I have so many favorites that I'm always saying this is one of my favorites. But again, like it happened the other day in one of my videos, is a very large deck. So it's a little bit more difficult to shuffle. Sometimes I shuffle this way, sometimes this way, because it's a very large deck. So it's hard to manage it, but the art is absolutely beautiful. All right, let's set the intention. Let's tell the cards what we want. We are looking at the love and romantic relationships, the main energies and guidance we need, as well as what needs to be released and what we need to focus on at this time. All right. We always say with love and light for our greatest good. All right. Main energies. What needs to be released? And what we need to focus on. All right. So, okay, let's look at what's the main energies and guidance that the tarot and spirit are giving us right now. So it comes from 14, the strength, and the 5 of fire. All right, interesting. So I want you to understand that this card is a little bit different than most traditional decks. So when you see strength and the number 14, you can say, well, this doesn't really fit. So it mixes a little bit of tarot with oracle. So let's read what the cards say as the cards are, right? And the main energies. So the strength card and the 5 of fire, that would be 5 of wands, right, in traditional tarot. So these cards are letting you know that the main guidance, and that is telling us also about the energies around your love life right now, is that things seem to be in a place that requires that inner strength, right? That requires for you to not to fight, but for you to have a defensive stand, right? Kind of say. So there could be some arguments that are happening, or arguments actually that need to happen in order to change something around your love life, right? So he's saying, remember your own strength, remember your own abilities to handle times of challenge, right? So If you are in a relationship right now, what this is pointing at is saying, all right, if or when there are arguments right now in the relationship, it is time to choose those arguments wisely. It is not about winning at all costs, right? So choose wisely. Not only know your own strength and know your own value, but remember what is the value in the relationship, right? So it's mostly about choosing those arguments wisely. It's not, sometimes it's not about being right, but having peace, right? So it's pretty much telling you this. It's not saying, oh, there is a horrible energy around us, because remember, the tarot gives us messages and guidance, but doesn't tell us predict the future to a point, because there are many different futures actually, and our choices and our free will shape the future. So with the guidance here, it is, hey, remember your own strength, remember the value in the relationship, remember what you stand for, right? So connect with your values, connect with that inner strength you have, and you will do this in order to be able to control uh, reactions, or to manage your reactions in a way that it is about choosing those arguments wisely, or choosing those fights, seeing this is maybe is not worth the argument, is not worth fighting about. My peace is the priority. And not only that, but by remembering who you are and what you stand for, you will realize that some things are not worth it, that are not worth to compromising your values or what's important in a relationship for a silly argument. Okay. Now, if you're not in a relationship right now, right? So the strength card is mostly coming to tell you that right now, staying rooted in who you are, those, as I mentioned before, the values, who you are, and what you stand for, is important as you are open to a new relationship, right? So it's not to compromise yourself in order to please someone else. And the Five of Fire is probably saying that what those values are and who you are is worth fighting for, is worth to stand your ground for who you are, and not let somebody mold you, and not even sometimes somebody else, but sometimes things that we see in social media, things we see in movies, or that we read about, and it's you must be this way in order to attract this type of relationship. No, you want to be in a relationship that aligns with who you are, that you can build a life together that goes towards the same goals, that you can be there for each other, right? So, in order to find that, being true to yourself, not compromising your values, and fighting for, it's not about fighting, but standing your ground about who and what you stand for and are about. Okay. Now, what needs to be released? And the release position, we have the Six of Water, that is usually the Six of Cup in traditional tarot. And the Six of Cups is usually a card of melancholy, right? Of remembering a beautiful past, of some memories, right? And that bring out a lot of emotion. In this case, the Six of Water is telling us to release the stories we're telling ourselves of the past, right? Or of not only the past, but of how things should be, right? So Yes, stand true to yourself, but see reality and stay flexible, right? So release the image of how things should be, or if you're not in a relationship, how your partner should look like, who they should be, um, what they should be doing for a living. So stay flexible and release any preconceived ideas or images you have of what you want, of how the relationship should be, right? You can still have your values, stand for yourself, but do not have this expectation that the other person needs to be certain way, needs to do a certain thing. All right. So it is more about acceptance and releasing those shoulds, right? And if you are in a relationship, it's the same thing. Um, a lot of times we want to change something in the other person. Um, the thing is that it's not up to us to change another. They come with their own karma, with their own path, and if we are choosing to be by their side and to love them, then that same love and our relationship will shape them, but we cannot try to manage who they are. Just like the relationship and who they are will shape us. So if there are things that we cannot accept, then maybe we should walk away, um, or talk to them. But this is all about releasing the shoots of either in the relationship or what we expect from it. Now, let's look at what to focus on. And it comes from the craftsman of fire. And, ooh, all right. So the craftsman is all about, right, working and action and doing towards what you want. And fire is that intention, that passion that we have. And earth is that manifestation, what we want to bring out to the physical reality. So when these cards are in the focus position, they are letting us know that it is time to put our actions and our work towards what we want to bring to life, right? So, what we have set up as a goal for this relationship, this is a time to work for it, right? Not to expect things to be just the way they are, just because we're flowing with things. Yes, there is a time and a place and a moment for flowing, and there is a time for doing, for putting that intention, for putting that work, right? And that could be, or that it is about looking at ourselves, right? And not about the other person. So this is about working on something for us. So setting that intention of what we want to work on, and it could be communication, it could be things that maybe the other person have told us that we need to examine about ourselves and how we are treating this relationship, right? So this is all about us taking responsibility for what we bring into the relationship, what we want to change, and how we show up. So the craftsman of fire and earth, it is the exercise here is to look at what we're bringing into the relationship, what our goal and our intention is, and what we need to be doing to go towards that goal from us, instead of saying, okay, I want the relationship this way, but it's the other person who needs to change, it's the other person who needs to talk different, it's the other person who needs to do. No, relationship is two people, but at this time the cards are saying it is about examining where your position and what your intention is, what you are bringing, and how you are working at it. And the same if you're not in a relationship. If you're not in a relationship, this is the time to look at what it is that you're looking for. Okay? Because sometimes people say, oh, I'm looking for a relationship. This is what I want. But They are not doing anything about it because deep inside, maybe they are not ready. Maybe that's not what they want at this moment. So examine your intention, right? And what you want, and then work towards it, grow towards it, take action towards it, right? So examine it and take the steps and move forward, because this is it's all about the growth you need to do from where you stand. All right. So let's just recap really fast. These main energies, the guidance is to examine or to remember your values and your inner strength, to choose your fights wisely, and to actually stand up for those things that are important to you. To release the shoulds, that relationship should be this way, or the person needs to look this way, or do this, to release those shoulds, and to focus on what you can control, what you bring to the relationship, what your intention, or if you're not in a relationship, what your intentions are, what you want to manifest. And it's all about doing and working towards that. All right. I hope you enjoyed your reading. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe so you can see my daily shorts and my different videos during the week. And if you want a personal reading with me, please do not hesitate to reach out. Go to my website or to my Gumroad storefront. All right. Let's look now at the blue fairy. And what is your message for you from this other deck? All right. All right, we're going to set the intention for the cards and let them know what it is that we want. So at this time, we want guidance towards our love life and relationships. We want to know the main energies around it, what to release and what to focus on. And we do this in love and light for our greatest good. Okay. We have the main energies, and now let's look at, for the release. We have 4. Interesting. Okay. And now what to focus on. Perfect. So let's look at what the main energy is. What's the main or principal message at this time? So we have the 10 of Swords and the 9 of Wands. All right. So the 10 of Swords is a card that looks kind of grim, right? Because it is a person with all these swords getting to them. But it's actually not a bad card. What it's saying is that there is an ending to something that has been stressful, painful, maybe an ending to a lot of arguments. It does not necessarily mean an ending to a relationship. As I mentioned before, there are many different futures, and we choose them by the decisions and choices we make on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. What we're here getting is the guidance and the advice, and this is saying this is the time or the energies call for an ending of things that are hurting, for an ending of arguments. This is the air element, right? The sword, so thoughts, communication, right? And he's saying, all right, perhaps there have been things said that have been very painful, that we have been thinking about, and the energies call for moving away from all of that, right? From moving away from thoughts that are hurting us. So if we're looking for a relationship, but the thoughts of old relationships or the pain that we carry, perhaps this is the time to just, the energies call for that to be healed and to be put behind you. This is the energy of a 10. So thoughts, arguments, things that have been painful that you are carrying, time to heal them, time to move on. And if you are in a relationship right now, perhaps this is about thinking about old arguments, things that have happened, conversations that sometimes come back to you, and every time it's like touching the wound. And this is saying, all right, this is important that this ends because it's hurting you. All right. And it's hurting the relationship if you are in a relationship. And instead, the energies call for, for that movement of like, okay, if we are in a relationship, instead of focusing or going back to the thoughts and arguments, moving away from that and moving into what can give success to the relationship, right? Making those choices very, what is the word I'm looking for right now? So, making those choices very intentional in like, is that bringing me to things that are painful, or this choice is bringing me to the success of the relationship, or the success of finding the right partner for me, or preparing me for the type of relationship I want? So this is about being intentional with your choices in a way that you move away from the things that have been hurting into the things that bring success, because the nine energy is that being there of almost success, wants that fire energy, that intention. So be intentional with your choices, and if something is bringing you how things have been, then you know it's not the right thing, and it's choosing what is bringing you towards the success that you want, either in the relationship or in finding the right partner for you. And now, in the release part, and let's look at them in order. We have the Four of Swords, the Queen of Cups, the Five of Swords, and the Moon. Let's move this one over here. Okay, okay, okay. So a lot that the cards are saying, the spirit at this time. All right, so the Four of Swords, what to release? Remember, we are in the release position. What to release? Release inaction, right? Release just not pausing so much and staying in your head. This is not the right move for you right now or for the relationship. A stagnation, that would be the right word. Release a stagnation, right? The Queen of Cups tells you it's a time to nurture the relationship if you are in the relationship. So release this stagnation, move towards nurturing, and then it is, ask yourself if the relationship is worth fighting for, right? And it is about nurturing either the relationship, nurturing yourself, releasing stagnation, and this can also mean releasing. When we see swords here and again here, that 10 and these 5, releasing arguments that do not bring to anything, that cause more confusion, right? So it is the release of a stagnation, with the release of arguments, and instead nurturing ourselves, finding clarity, not feeling that we're staying stuck in something, either in a relationship that doesn't work or in a position where the energies do not move forward. Nurture yourself right now. Nurture the relationship if you want to save it, right? Again, move away from just being passive, right? And fight for what you want, or stay away from fights that are breaking down the bond between you and the other person. And find clarity for your next steps. If right now you feel that you you feel stuck because you don't know what to do next or the steps to do next, is about releasing that in a way that you take the steps to find that clarity, right? Nurture yourself, find the steps to get clarity. Either fight for what you want, but stay away from fights that cause pain. And it's all about moving away from that feeling stuck, feeling stagnant, having that stagnant energy. And you do that by gaining clarity, nurturing yourself for the relationship, and moving away from fights, but at the same time, fighting for what you want, right? So, a big message here. And it seems that there is this call of like moving stagnant energy, because we have the 10 of swords, we have again here the 4 of swords. So moving away from this energy that feels that things are not going anywhere, either in the relationship or that there is the same arguments happening over and over again, or if we're not in a relationship, the thought patterns that keep us on a loop, right? And it is this energy needs to be moved, and the way to move it is by finding clarity, right? Mostly finding clarity and nurturing what we want. So what we fight for is actually what brings us to success, and we stop fighting for things that cause us pain. But the main focus comes from the Six of Pentacles, right? And the Six of Pentacles is the card of generosity, of giving and receiving, right? And when this card shows up in this particular reading, it's telling us, yes, it is the exercise here of what to focus on is what we are putting out there, and also what is being given to us. So, if you are in a relationship, it is time to examine both what you are giving to the other person and what the other person is giving to you. Are they meeting your needs? Are you meeting their needs? Right? It is about creating a balance in which neither you or the other person is in a position of power over the other one. A relationship should be balanced, should be equal. And it is about meeting each other's needs, growing together, and remembering what the goals and the success that you want from this relationship are, and stopping that loop of arguments or of pain and that stagnant energy that sometimes in long relationships seems to like sit there, right? And if you're not in a relationship, this card is also about giving and receiving. So if you've been wanting a certain type of relationship, it's like, are you putting out that energy to call for that? Are you doing the actions to go forward and get that type of relationship? Or are you just sitting back and not doing anything to move that energy forward? And at the same time is looking at, well, what is the energy that's coming to me, right? Because perhaps I am feeling that I don't want to do anything because of the environment I'm in. So this is also okay. Look at every possible situation, look at how things can be changed to move the stagnant energy, to move any painful thoughts right now, right? So with what this card we had here in of the Nine of Wands and the Moon here in the release, this is saying find clarity towards what you really want, and then assess if you're doing your part. If you're looking for a relationship, if you're not, if you're already in the relationship, assess if the balance of what we give out and what we receive is fair, or how to make it more fair. Perhaps having that difficult conversation about, am I meeting your needs? Are you meeting mine? Or what needs to be adjusted, right? So, a lot of balance, leaving behind pain, moving towards things that is what we want, and finding clarity by changing that energy that seems stagnant, fights and thoughts that create that blockage of things not moving. And we do that by examining what we're putting out there, what's being given to us, and also what we are doing to go after what we want. All right. I hope you enjoyed your reading. Again, please like or subscribe and reach out. I offer private one on one sessions either by phone or video call and pre recorded readings. Okay, let's look at the last fairy. If you picked the yellow fairy today. Okay, let's see what this deck has for us. And we call on spirits. The intention is that we find the main energies of the relationship and the guidance, what to release and what to focus on. We do this in love and light for our greatest good. And let's see. Okay. Again, 2 cards. Well, these ones don't seem to want to come out today. Okay. All right. So one card wanted to come out for release and focus, and 2 for the main energy. So let's look at that. And we have the 5 of Swords again. Interesting. And the 4 of Pentacles. And I'm seeing in the 2 decks that we did and this one, a lot of the 5 of Swords, right? So I wonder if that has to do with the main energies around the collective at this time, right? The 5 of Swords, that it is this battle card, right? It is the air element. And here we have also we have the 4 of Pentacles and the energy of a 4, but the energy also of the element earth. And the 5 of Swords here is when the main guidance is about arguments, fights, and these sometimes are not only the arguments and fights we may be having with someone else, but also arguments and fights that we have with ourselves, right? So, are we treating ourselves as somebody who we love? Like, are we giving ourselves that love, compassion, and understanding? Or are we our worst enemy? That's what this 5 of Swords could say. Are we trying to win arguments with another person at all costs? Are we always trying to be right? Right? Are we shooting ourselves in the foot by our actions sometimes and the thought patterns that we have about ourselves or the relationship? So this card is coming to advise, examine how you are being there for yourself and how you are either sabotaging your current relationship or sabotaging where you want to go if you're single, where with that type of relationship that you want, right? So examine how you talk to yourself, how sometimes, if sometimes you always want to be right, if sometimes you are just arguing for things that are petty, if you want to win at all costs, right? And it is about examining all this, right, at this time, because in this position at this time, it's not about fighting for something that it's something is calling to fight for. It's actually examine how our behavior, attitudes, and words are shaping either the current relationship or how we show up for future ones. And this is more about stability, right? So instead of a chaotic mind or having chaos due to arguments and wanting to be right. And it is about building a solid foundation or towards your relationship, or building that stability for you so you feel more grounded and more in control as you move towards being or finding a relationship for you. All right, and let's look at the release. And what we release, it comes from another five, and this is the Five of Wands, right? And again, what to release, and this would, with these other five, is telling release unnecessary arguments and fights. So it seems to be the major theme here. It is choosing the arguments, because we may be arguing for things that are not worth it. So release arguments that are not worth it, little times when we want to be right, when really it doesn't matter. Um, there are some things that are important to stand up for. And like we had in the other deck, when it's about our values, who we are. But there are times that we choose to argue for things that are not worth it. And there are petty arguments that the only thing they do is create cracks in a relationship and not allowing a good and stable foundation to be there. So release petty arguments and the wanting to be right at all costs, and what to focus on. And that is the Knight of Swords. And what to focus on. And this is perfect because the Knight action moving forward, and look at this Knight, how they are. It looks as if they are going straight towards what they want, and they are coming with the sword, and the sword's air element. So it just says focus on, it's not only fighting for what you want, but it is about talking or communication that is assertive, that is powerful, saying the things that are important that need to be said. So going for that, taking action for that, without making arguments that are not necessary or wanting to be right. Sometimes it's just voicing out what's important, voicing out what you want, just saying it, saying what you want, saying what's important. But remember to do it in a way out of respect and not out of wanting to be right, or arguing or wanting to manipulate another person. It is about standing up for what you want in a way that you say it. You voice out what your intention is, what your goal is, what you believe in. But we can all say everything can be said, it's just the way it is said. But in not by fighting and not by wanting to be right at all costs, in a way that lets you go after what you want, in a way that it's assertive communication without creating more fights, right? But this is not about avoiding fights by staying quiet or not honoring yourself. No, this is actually calling for action, for you to stand up for yourself in a way, or to say what needs to be said. So the cards are reminding you this is not about silencing anybody, but it is about choosing those arguments wisely, not starting arguments that are not worth it, and wanting to be right at all costs. But it is about building a solid foundation or a certain stability by the way you communicate. So the best advice I would give you, because this is a collective reading, is to really look at anything that needs to be said at this time and to examine what is the best way to say what needs to be said that honors you, but doesn't cause a fight, right? That it doesn't cause an unnecessary fight, but at the same time, that honors you, honors your truth, and it is something that that needs to be said at the right now. All right. I hope you enjoyed your reading, The Yellow Fairy. Give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Remember, I have weekly videos. On Sundays, we look at the main energies for the week. On Mondays, we look at love and career. And Mondays, work and career. Tuesdays, love life. I do hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Again, if you need any information about my services, please do not hesitate to reach out. We have live sessions, we have pre-recorded readings, weekly videos on different aspects, and also daily shorts. All right, have a fantastic week. Brightest blessings.